me, man.
Group of my former organization that did go SNY, that were like, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore, because it was hard. It's like you said, it's one, obviously there was more than just one of us, but
Yeah,
it gets to the point where you're fighting a losing battle.
exactly.
We can be as vicious as we want to, and that's basically what I tried to do. I tried to get people before they could get me, because I knew that I was fucked. I was in the hat, basically. And a lot of people that don't understand California politics and don't understand prison culture in general won't get it. But when one organization, because the brand is a small organization in itself, you know, but when it's dictating to an entire race of people on these main lines, if they say, hey, these guys are bad, they're obligated, regardless if they want to or not, to get off on us. And so I knew that going in. And then another thing was I was accepted with open arms from the riders in California, because like I said, our organization runs a little bit differently than everybody else.
Yeah,
Like you have like ABT, which is Aryan Brotherhood of Texas, that doesn't necessarily have the blessing of the federal or the California faction of that organization to even exist. And so they're associated only by name, not by the actual organization. Where
oh,
in
I
my
see.
yeah, so and that's a little different. Like I think I'm pretty sure, and again I can't really speak too much on it because I don't know exactly, but I'm pretty sure like the brand faction in Arizona is sanctioned by them, so it's all good. Texas is not, so it's only related by name. And but for my organization, um, I was good coming to California.
Yeah,
With that being said, I had to deal with the fact that I became a member of an organization that was slammed years before I even became a member,
yeah,
and they were in the hat with the big guys.
yeah,
So I knew going into it that I was going to have to fight for my life basically every
yeah,
single day.
yeah,
And again, I'm not a big guy, I'm not an intimidating guy. Uh, I had only um, a juvenile record before that because I went in at 18.
yeah,
So I knew what I was getting into, but once I got there, it was a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
yeah.
So,
So let me ask you, um, where did this is kind of on another note, but where
right.
did the brand and riders, where do they differ? Like I can kind of see like definitely on the views, but like where did it differ to start? Why did the riders start? Like why didn't they just join the Aryan Brotherhood if they both promoted the Nazi agenda pretty much? But
Right.
I understand that the NLRs are kind of a little different with their promoting of the whole Nazi side of things. So
Right. Yeah. So to answer that question, the NLR actually started in CYA. It started in the California Youth Authority, and that's basically, they're not going to allow more or less children to become brand members. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
and then because you have senior members, you have junior members, and then you have what they call kids. And kids are basically more or less probates. They're not full members. They're basically, they put all the work in. That's
yeah.
that's where you start from. But
Okay.
and then obviously you work your way up just like in any
Yeah.
organization. But so it started in California Youth Authority, and it was literally started to give the white kids basically um, a way to protect themselves. And it, as members started getting older, the founding members started getting older, it went into CDC, and then it just spread from there. And to answer your question about the ideology, um, it was more of a, we, from the get, they allowed Hispanics. That's where the term Nazi lowriders comes from. The lowrider
Yeah.
is basically in honor of their Hispanic brothers,
Yeah.
and obviously the Nazi is for the white
Yeah.
brothers. And so that's basically what it was. It was a group that allowed Hispanics and whites to be a part of it, and they kind of took it and ran with it as
Yeah.
far as how everything was. So
And how long were the riders on the line before all this came down and blew up, and you guys got slammed, and the light took place? You guys were in the hat. How long was it
right.
before that?
So I think it was about a decade that they were able to walk the main line. The brand used them as, they basically got used to do their dirt on the main lines instead, because at that time brand members had all been slammed themselves. So it was kind of like just a natural progression. Okay, this is who's gonna run the show now and this, but at the time everybody took direction from AB. So then over time, leadership changes. As you know, everybody, you might have the keys for a year maybe, and then it changes. Shit's
Yep.
always changing.
Yep.
So eventually, they decided that they were going to separate themselves. They gave us a choice basically, and this is before I even came in. I
Yeah.
was probably not even thought of at the time, or barely thought of.
Yeah.
But uh, basically it was like, hey, you either get with our program and stop letting, basically you can't have any members that are married to Mexicans or Hispanics. You can't have any members who are mixed. You can't have Mexicans, period, in your organization. And there was kind of an internal struggle within our own ranks where, like I told you, that FTB thing came around, and it was basically guys who were automatically like, fuck them, we're not going to take direction from them anymore. If they want some, they can get some, basically. And then the other portion that still wanted to be involved and under the umbrella of the AB and wanted to still get with it. And there was some internal house cleaning and stuff that happened, and eventually, because of that, they basically green lighted everybody and was like, okay, fuck it, you guys are no good, whatever. And it wasn't any, like I said, it was kind of like you were talking your situation. It had nothing to do with uh, you know any snitches or punks or fucking any of that shit. It was basically like, you're not going to do what we say, so
You're done.
you're all bad.
Yeah.
And that's been the biggest thing for me, because like I said, I separated myself from that life, but at the same time, when I was there, I didn't consider myself SNY. I didn't consider myself PC case, and I wasn't going to be on the yard, so on one of those yards.
Yeah.
So I would just take off on everybody and get thrown in the hole or whatever it took
Yeah.
to tell myself to, because for some reason I wanted to convince myself that I was good. I was
Yeah.
doing what I was supposed to,
Yeah.
and I couldn't see myself going to a yard like that.
Exactly.
And again, it's no disrespect. Like I say,
I
my
understand.
eyes have been open
I understand completely.
about that, but I didn't want to program. I didn't want to be on the same yard as a child molester. I originally, the case that got me to prison originally was an assault with a deadly weapon, and conspiracy. And the conspiracy part of it was, I used the Megan's Law website
To find
to
someone.
find find a chomo, and I planned on taking him out.
Yeah.
And he survived, so it is what it is. I don't regret the crime, but I still have those feelings to this day where, obviously fucking chomos are no good in my eyes, or pieces of shit.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't gonna walk the yard with them. I wasn't gonna house with them.
Well, that's why the good thing, like the 10% I was telling you about, the unheard 10% is on these level 4 180s. When you're SNY, there's literally a block called THU for people that debrief, because it's so packed. People debrief constantly.
Oh yeah, for
Our
sure.
those yards, the second that Chomo lands on those yards, they're gone. So
Right.
I never really had to live on a yard, on the 180 or 4 yard, anything like that. But then again, I wasn't checking every single person's paperwork on that yard. All I
Right.
know is that the people on the yard, even the ones I didn't like, we all stood towards the same thing, that no matter what, we're here on this side. We ain't having no chomos on this yard, period. Um, but trust me, I understand exactly where you're coming from as far as still sticking to your morals, getting off, telling yourself, that no matter what, I'm good. I'm good. Regardless if there's a whole yard over here or if it's the brand saying you guys are no good. It's about self-maintaining, telling yourself you are good. So let's just go ahead and segue on to, I'm not sure if you had anything specifically that you wanted to clear up. I know you watch a lot of YouTube channels. I know you hear a lot of propaganda going back and forth. I do too. Wherever I ended up is where I ended up, but I'm a very seasoned person. I spent 10 years in
Right.
prison as well, and I did a lot of shit, got into a lot of pain and trouble and hurt and chaos. And so after hearing everything, if there's anything you want to like clear up, maybe on the white aspect of politics that you've been hearing, I kind of stay out of that. That no one really gives me any troubles on that side. I'm cool with Free from Fetters from Joey. Um,
Right.
that's the boy right there, and you know what's up. But other than that, go ahead, have at it. If there's anything you want to speak on,
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not gonna call anybody out directly because I'm not about that. I mean, if I was gonna call somebody out, I would just say it to their face. But like I said, that life is, I'm done with that life, or it is what it is. But I will say this, especially for the youngsters out there, there are a group. There's guys on YouTube who are kind of younger that are this and that, and they're not really pushing positivity. They're not really teaching, you know, people to, hey, this isn't where you want to be, or this isn't what you want to do. They're constantly just talking about this, that, and the other. And then there's older cats who I have a lot of respect for. That some of them I know personally that are doing, you
that's
know,
right.
the road to recovery, that are helping, tell kids or just adults too that, you know, hey, this isn't where you want to be. This isn't what you want to do. And they're using their own experiences that they have firsthand knowledge about to kind of relay that message. And so again, no beef or anything, but I would say to, because I know you have a lot of viewers, and there's viewers of yours that are white, black, Mexican, Asian, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Specifically maybe for the white audience, that this shit that you get fed by the media, and there's fucking movies out now, movies like
Yeah.
Shot Caller, movies like
Yeah.
that that show this huge, like, you have all this power and all this other shit. um that shit doesn't mean anything when you get on the outside. And with that power comes a lot of consequences
Mhm.
that
It
are
ain't
going
free.
to, yeah, it's not free. And in my situation, i I was a certain way in one state, and then went to another state and found out that I was no good there, and it
Yeah.
had nothing to do with whatever,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So you have to, people, kids, whoever, have to keep that in mind when they're seeing this shit, or they see these YouTubers, and these YouTubers are, saying this, that, or the other, and how cool it was, and this, and oh, I ran this or ran that. I didn't run shit when I was in there. I
Yeah.
had nobody to run anything.
Yeah.
I basically ran myself,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was completely out of survival. I was scared shitless every day that I was in there,
Yeah.
every fucking day. And
Yeah.
it had nothing, I'm not, like I said, the violence that I put on people was completely out of fear. It had
Yeah.
nothing to do with me thinking I was
Yeah.
big shit. I wasn't no heavy hitter or anything
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
where, I was calling shots or whatever. My own people didn't like it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't gonna roll it up either.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against anybody that ever did that, because I can understand why somebody would want to do that. I just had the ability and the
Well, you knew what it
really,
was. Like
yeah, I knew what it was.
you knew the
And
score. Like if I would have been afforded an opportunity to say, you know what, um, you can just you're a part of an organization that is still all good. Now, a bigger organization is calling you all bad, but you're not alone, right? You
Right,
have you got other riders out there doing what you're doing, so stay strong and get off.
right,
That could have kept my morale up, if you ask me personally.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. So and that's what it was. It was I wasn't alone in that struggle of basically no one liking you.
Yeah,
But at the same time, you know, I've never I'm never shy. I was scared shitless, but I never shied away from anything.
yeah,
And and my mentality while I was in there, I felt like I was going to be doing this the rest of my life.
yeah,
And so, in my opinion, in the way I was thinking, I didn't want to show weakness by leaving and then having that follow me the rest of my, you know,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. No, I
So
understand. I understand.
that's the reason I did it. And now, in retrospect, looking back, I was a fucking idiot, and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
whole thing was fucking, you know.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but I just, like I said, there's no disrespect to all these YouTubers doing their video.
yeah.
I really enjoy, even when I was quote unquote hating you,
Yeah,
which it really wasn't. It was just a lack of understanding your
yeah.
situation.
It happens a lot.
I still watched your shit. I was a closet fan. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Closet fan,
Uh,
huh?
but I do. I watch a lot of these
Yeah,
YouTubers out there, and a lot of them have a really good message, and some of them don't, and some of them kind of portray this lifestyle as the be all end all and it being so great. But I can tell you, I've rubbed elbows with dudes who are top of the fucking food chain, and the ones that had the blessing to be able to walk out of the gates, some of them got their shit together, but the ones that didn't really didn't get their shit together. I seen a dude. I haven't been back to my old neighborhood in a long time, but the last time I was back, I seen a dude that was really calling some shots, and he was top food chain, like
yeah, yeah,
fed fed level dude. And he was riding a fucking bicycle. I was just talking to my chick about it. He was riding a fucking bicycle
yeah. Nobody.
and had like trash in a basket, and it was just all fucking,
Mhm.
meth the fuck out, and just he that shit didn't mean shit. Like
It doesn't mean nothing. Doesn't mean
yeah,
nothing.
it doesn't. And that's one of the reasons that I think that the guys who are using YouTube as a way to brag about what they've done or whatever are really misguided, and obviously they didn't learn anything about themselves when they were in, because the ones that have really changed and are really caring about other people, um, are the ones that are trying to make an impact and tell people, hey, this isn't the way to go. This isn't the life you want to live. A guy that I have a ton of respect for. I'm not gonna drop his name on here, but he's a YouTuber. He's a white YouTuber. He was high power for a long time. I just found out recently he talks to people who are on SNY yards, because he knows that he's never going back there, and
Exactly.
he could
Exactly.
be fucking cool with whoever he wants to, and
Exactly.
all he's trying to do is push positivity. So for the guys that are on YouTube, whether that be in the comments or guys making videos, uh, you know, hating on somebody because they left